Have you ever, just looked up at the sky or maybe even just watched dust dancing in the sunlight and really wondered, what is all this? Like fundamentally, not just the physics we map out, but the deep structure, the blueprint behind, well, everything, atoms, galaxies, even our oldest stories. Today we're doing a really fascinating deep dive. We're looking at some sources called the Divine Trinity, the building blocks of reality. And this isn't your typical science review. It's more of an ancient kind of allegorical way of looking at the world. Our mission today really is to see if we can uncover this hidden cosmic blueprint, maybe hidden in ideas and stories we thought we knew inside out, and see how it might just shift how you view, well, everything.
It's captivating stuff because these sources, they put forward this really big unifying idea that everything you see and experience, the actual elements making up the planet, the myths we tell ourselves, it might all stem from just three basic principles. And even more fundamental than that, they supposedly come from one single unified consciousness. It's a framework that really invites you to look deeper,
Yeah.
connect some pretty unexpected dots. And you start to think, okay, how could these ideas actually change how I understand reality itself?
Okay, right. Let's try and unpack that origin story they talk about. It sounds pretty dramatic. They mention something called the Great Divide, a single consciousness, the monarch being dismembered, and that sounds intense. But you mentioned it's not about destruction, so what kind of separation are we talking about here, and how does that lead to these three core principles, alpha, beta, omega?
Exactly. Dismembered sounds harsh, but think of the monarch as this ultimate singular awareness, everything, all potential unified. The Great Divide wasn't violence. It was more like a cosmic act of self-separation, like pure light hitting a prism and splitting into colors.
Okay, so generate, not destructive.
Precisely. It created these distinct foundational principles, alpha, beta, and omega. They basically set the stage for everything that follows. And according to these sources, this all happened right at the dawn of what they call the cycle, like a huge cosmic era. And crucially, before the game started.
The game. Okay, so that's not just a metaphor here.
Apparently not. It's presented as the actual structure of existence as we know it, this dualistic reality focused on learning, experience, happening within a specific realm they call the pen. So alpha, beta, and omega become the absolute building blocks, the fundamental forces driving everything within this pen.
Right, so one becomes three foundational energies. It does make you think of light and colors, like you said, each distinct. But here's where, for me, it gets really interesting. And I think for you listening too, you might be thinking, okay, abstract principles, cosmic stuff, how does that actually show up, in the real world, the rocks, the water?
Well, this is the provocative bit. The sources claim that something as familiar as the periodic table of elements. It's not just that chart from school.
Exactly. This is where the abstract hits the concrete. They literally describe the periodic table of elements as a sacred library of the divine attributes.
Wow, a sacred library.
Yeah. Imagine your chemistry textbook was actually a kind of hidden language. These sources are saying that's exactly what it is. It's like a divine catalog showing how alpha, beta, and omega, these cosmic forces, actually express themselves in every single element. It's not just a list. It's like the universe's own recipe book showing all the different flavors of reality. A divine recipe book. I love that. Okay, so give us a taste then. What are these different flavors? How do alpha, beta, omega appear in elements we actually know?
Sure. Let's start with alpha elements. They're described as stable, structural, often magnetic. Think of iron Phi, for instance. It's that stable core. The sources literally call it the cold, hard foundation of the physical world, the very substance of the rock.
The rock. Okay.
Yeah. And other alpha elements tend to share these foundational, sometimes magnetic qualities. They represent that enduring structure. Then you've got the beta elements. These are described as more energetic, volatile, sometimes radiative. Gold is a key example they give. Now, we think of gold as stable, right? But here it's presented as fiery solar, a catalyst for change.
Interesting. Like it's energy, it's dynamism.
Exactly. It's the active part, driving transformation, radiating influence. Other beta elements are seen as similarly active, transformative. And finally, the omega elements. These are presented as the great neutralizers, the bonding agents. They specifically mention hydrogen H, calling it the water former, and also the noble gases like argon, Rs. These are connected to what they call the Great Omega Ocean. They're seen as the very medium of the cosmos.
The medium, like the space between things, allowing connection.
Sort of, yeah. They facilitate interaction, bonding, like
Yeah.
the cosmic connective tissue holding it all together.
That really is mind-bending. Seeing the periodic table that way as a kind of sacred code, it makes you look at I don't know, a lump of iron completely differently. But does it suggest more than just a conceptual link? Like, if elements carry these alpha, beta, omega signatures, does that imply a different kind of relationship we could have with them?
Well, it definitely implies they aren't just inert substances, right? They carry these primal energies. The sources don't exactly give you like a how-to guide for using this knowledge practically. It's not about building a better engine necessarily, but the implication is huge. Understanding an element's alpha, beta, or omega nature means understanding its deeper cosmic role, its inherent energetic quality. It really frames the material world as being soaked in divine meaning. Even a pebble isn't just a pebble, it's part of this grand unfolding story.
Okay, so if that's how these principles show up in the physical, the inert world,
Mhm.
then surely they must echo in our stories too, in our collective myths. And this is where the sources take another really surprising turn. They connect these principles directly to figures like Adam and Eve, not just as religious figures, but as a kind of cosmic map of alpha and beta. So what do they say about Adam and Eve in this context?
Right. This is where the allegory gets really potent and surprisingly literal within this framework. The sources flat out state that the story of Adam and Eve is a literal, if simplified, allegory for the two primary divine principles. That's alpha and beta. They're presented as, the cosmic parents of all life in the pen.
Cosmic parents. Wow, that's definitely not the Sunday school version. So, okay, who's who? Who represents alpha and who's beta? What does that mean for their roles?
Great question. Connecting it all up, Adam is explicitly alpha, and he's often linked symbolically with the moon. He's the first man, right, formed from the dust and clay of the earth. His role is seen as representing the original blueprint, the foundational moral principle.
The structure again, like the alpha element.
Yeah, exactly. He's the stable underlying pattern, the foundation. And conversely, Eve is beta. She corresponds to the sun. Her creation from Adam's rib in this view isn't just a detail. It signifies her role as the catalyst, the active principle.
Ah, okay, the dynamic force.
Precisely. It's Eve who interacts with the serpent, which, interestingly, the sources equate with the cycle itself, this ongoing process of existence. And that interaction is what brings forth the game of knowledge and duality. She's the spark, the energy that initiates change, like those beta elements. She gets the cosmic play moving.
It's honestly staggering to think of Adam and Eve not just as ancient figures, but as these cosmic forces. Adam is alpha moon, Eve is beta sun, shaping reality. It really makes you rethink those old stories. So if they are the cosmic parents, how does that dynamic play out for us, for the world, for humanity? What does it mean for us right now?
This is where it becomes really personal, you could say. The sources explain that humanity and actually all life within this pen, we all descend from them, from this divine parentage. Every living being is described as a pip, like a little seed.
A pip. Okay.
Yeah. And inside each pip, each one of us, there's supposedly a tiny spark, like a fragment of the blueprint. It contains both the alpha principle, the stable, lunar aspect, and the beta principle, the dynamic solar aspect. It's like we have this cosmic ancestry coded right into us, a piece of both cosmic parents.
So we're carrying fragments of both Adam and Eve, alpha and beta, within us, according to this. What's the end game then? What's the ultimate destiny for us, for the pen, with these cosmic parents involved?
Well, the ultimate destiny described here revolves around something called the Great Reset. But it's not presented as, a catastrophe. It's framed as a profound creative moment, the sacred wedding of the sun and the moon.
The sacred wedding.
Yes, the ultimate act of creation, the moment when the two great parents, Adam and Eve, alpha and beta, finally reunite after their long separation. It's portrayed as this huge cosmic reconciliation.
Okay, wow. And what happens then in this reunion?
This union, this merging of alpha and beta back together, is what the sources call the magic of life. It's described as this almost alchemical process. It rebalances the whole cosmos, apparently recharges the divine battery. And from that rebalancing, that reunion, comes the potential for something new, a perfected form of humanity emerging from the, quote, ashes of the old game.
So like an evolutionary leap triggered by this cosmic reunion.
That's the sense you get, yeah, a grand reharmonization. The sources actually end that section quite poetically, saying, we are all children of their long-separated love, waiting for them to come together again.
Children of their long-separated love. Waiting. That paints a powerful picture. A sense of collective longing almost. Thinking of ourselves carrying these sparks of alpha and beta, and that the whole story is maybe heading towards this great reset, this reunion that could birth a new kind of humanity. It gives such a dramatic sweep to everything, a sense of deep purpose, maybe? What an absolutely incredible journey we've been on today, looking into this divine trinity. We started with alpha, beta, omega, these building blocks supposedly arising from the great divide of a single monarch. Then we saw how these principles might be encoded right into the periodic table, turning it into this sacred library. Amazing. And finally, delving into Adam and Eve, not just as biblical figures, but as cosmic alpha and beta, the parents whose reunion the Great Reset holds this transformative promise for everyone in the pen. These sources really do paint a picture of a deeply interconnected reality, far more poetic and grand than we usually consider.
Absolutely. And it really leaves you with a powerful question to ponder, doesn't it? If our very existence is framed like this as a spark of long-separated love just waiting for this grand cosmic reunion, what might that say about our own deep-seated desires, our own search for connection, for balance, for meaning in our lives right now? It really pushes you to think about the fundamental stories, the deep narratives that might be shaping how you see everything, maybe without you even realizing it.